Direct Action Day, one of the most brutal, untold stories of Bharat. It was a planned Hindu genocide where whole of Calcutta turned into a graveyard. We are talking about an incident that happened in 1946, just a year prior to independence. Direct Action Day is not just about one day. It's a chain of events that changed the map of Bharat. Let's understand what Direct Action Day actually means. In the leadership of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, All India Muslim League was urging for a separate state called Pakistan. When Viceroy and Congress denied their request, on 29 July 1946, Muhammad Ali Jinnah has given a call for Direct Action Day. Direct Action Day is basically like a Panth, where schools, colleges, and economic trades were to be shut down, and they would protest against Viceroy and Congress to show the strength of Muslims to have a separate state called Pakistan. Jinnah's message was very clear. If Pakistan was not given, it would be taken by force. Though Jinnah called this protest for the whole country, the bloodiest impact was in Bengal, especially Calcutta, which is why it is also called as the Great Calcutta Killings. To implement this horror, they chose 16 August 1946. They chose Bengal because All India Muslim League was in power and they had a very good grip in that state. Hussain Shaheed Suhrawardy, who was a close associate of Jinnah, was the Prime Minister of Bengal. Back then, chief ministers were called Prime Ministers. Bengal was 55% Muslim majority state. Even the ministers in the cabinet were of Muslim majority. But the capital of Bengal, which is Calcutta, the most prosperous industrial city, was Hindu majority, where they could create communal violence and state that they could go to any extent to achieve Pakistan. The planning and preparations were in full swing. The government of Suhrawardy declared 16 August 1946 as a public holiday. They transferred Hindu officers from all key posts, and others were sent on leave. Out of 24 police stations, 22 were in the control of Muslim officials. Most famous newspaper, Star of India, has published the entire program of Direct Action Day on 13th August 1946, which is 3 days prior to the event. It was also mentioned that 3 workers will be deputed in every mosque on 16th of August to explain the plan of action on Direct Action Day. Muslim shops in the market were marked Pakistan to differentiate it from Hindu shops. All the Muslims were instructed to gather from different parts of Bengal to Calcutta. They picked up sticks, knives, guns, any weapon they can find. In Raza Bazar, Belgachia, and Lal Bagan Basti, Muslim youth were found sharpening their weapons. Just a couple of days before this event, the government of Suhrawardy issued petrol coupons to only Muslims to set fire to trams and military trucks. And all this was happening in the leadership of Prime Minister Suhrawardy. On the day of 16th August, a huge number of Muslims were gathered at Octalni Monument in Calcutta. According to reports, the number of Muslims differed from 30,000 to 5 lakh members who took part in this event. The Prime Minister Suhrawardy has given a very provoking speech against Hindus. He also ensured that the law and order will not involve during this event. He instigated the Muslims to openly commit violence against Hindus. After the speech, the armed mobs flooded the streets. They looted every Hindu shop. They assaulted, stabbed, killed every Hindu they could find. Thousands of Hindus were massacred. The atrocities committed by these mobs were beyond imagination. Even the amount of brutality inflicted upon women and children cannot even be described. There was no rescue. It is said that Mr. Suhrawardy himself was sitting in the police control room and ordered the officials to stand aside. Amidst the carnage, one man rised, Gopal Chandra Mukherjee, aka Gopal Patha. He was not a politician, he was not an officer, just a common man. He was a meat seller by trade, who stood as a hero. While these riots were happening, he fought the attackers and saved many families with all his men. When Calcutta needed a protector, Gopal Patha stood up. He united all the Hindus to defend themselves and started revolting against every brutality. He instructed no Muslim women or children should be harmed. Under the leadership of Gopal Patha, even Hindus started attacking Muslim mobs. This didn't stop for a day. It went on for 4 days straight. Soon, Suhrawardy noticed his plan was failing, and he immediately urged the public to sue for peace. Gandhiji reached Calcutta to preach non-violence. Soon, British army started to control the situation. By the 5th day, the riots began to calm down. Officially, the casualties were counted up to 10,000 in 4 days. But Sir Henry Twynham has stated that at least 40,000 casualties happened in 4 days. Whole Calcutta had turned into a burial ground. Bodies lay scattered everywhere. Vultures surrounded the city. Even weeks after the massacre, vultures were seen picking up the rotten flesh of the dead bodies. In that darkest hour, where leaders, law and order failed, Gopal Patha stood as a savior of Hindus. He didn't fight for any power or fame. He fought because Dharma demanded protection. He will no way be found in history books because his ideology of blood for blood doesn't sit well with the Gandhian narrative, nor the secular leftist historians who always try to show Hindus as a passive victims but not defenders. Direct Action Day was one of the most bloodiest communal clash in the history of Bharat. This communal fire spread even outside Calcutta. Just 2 months after Direct Action Day, the Noakhali genocide happened, where thousands of Hindus were massacred. They were raped, killed, and forcibly converted. The widows and little girls were married off to older Muslim men. Gandhiji asked the victims to leave Noakhali or die in peace. Slowly, almost every province of India has witnessed tension. By mid-1947, the communal killings reached far greater scale. Even the Britishers realized they could no longer control this communal fury, making partition inevitable. Direct Action Day opened the gates of communal violence in Bharat. What started in Calcutta spread across the country. Jinnah wanted to show the British and Congress that Hindus and Muslims cannot live together. Noakhali, Calcutta and elsewhere has given him the evidence to demand Pakistan. Within 1 year of Direct Action Day, the partition was announced. Pakistan was created, which was the ultimate goal of Muslim League. Around 2 million people were killed during this period. The most NCERT and state textbooks call it the Great Calcutta Killings. The word Direct Action Day is barely mentioned anywhere. The books do not highlight that Jinnah and All India Muslim League was responsible for this communal violence in Bharat. Instead, they frame it as communal tensions which turned into violence. And it didn't stop there. Even today, we see what happens in Bengal. How Pakistan backed forces to continue their attack. How love jihad spreads widely with the same dream, to turn Bharat into an Islamic state. But what they forget is we withstood 1200 years of invasions and bloodshed. Yet Sanatan Dharma stands unbroken, no matter how many wars they wage, whether through terror, conversions or communal riots. Bharat will survive and stand eternally. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you for watching this video. I am Geethika, bringing you the real stories of Bharat. Subscribe and join me for the next one.